Okay, so I'd like to call this meeting of the Land Use and Development Committee to order. Can we do a roll call, please? Well, all members are present except for Bill Friedrich. Put it in the record. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so the first item of business we have this morning is the approval, the consideration and approval of our minutes from March 7th, 2023 regular meeting and the January 12th, 2023 special meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion, Member Bell, second, Member Abel. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, great, thank you. We have minutes. So we have bills to pay. You were sent those in the email. Does anybody have any questions? Well, first, let me get a motion on the floor to approve the bills. Member Abel, second. Member Bell. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Does anybody have any questions for staff about the bills? Issues, questions, concerns? Okay, good. All those in favor of approving the bills, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, great, thank you. So I'm told we don't have any members of the public who've signed up for comment. So I will go straight to item 5A, text amendment of the zoning ordinance to allow special use, carbon dioxide, CO2 sequestration dwelling, and use standards. Can I have a motion to get it on the floor? Motion, Member Wendt, second, Member Abel. Okay, so do you want to start?
Sure. As I explained in the brief memo on this item, we had a couple of meetings with 2 county board members and 3 staff to discuss how we should proceed. And we decided that it is likely that we should have a placeholder for carbon sequestration so that if somebody wants to build or drill a well in the county, we would have a special use and at least a place for them to apply for a special use. And then it would allow a public hearing, and it would require that they at least would have a permit with the U.S. EPA for drilling of the well. So that's about all I have really to add at this point.
Okay. If I could just add to it, I would just, for the record, we assembled a kind of informal working group with Member Abel, Catherine Metzger, and some members of staff to try to look at the CO2 issue. And from my perspective, essentially we had 2 questions to answer. First is, does the county board want to be involved in CO2 sequestration issues in the county? I mean, we don't have any control over pipelines. That's the Illinois Commerce Commission. But do we think that we have a role here as a county in terms of the wells themselves? And if we do, then what role, right? And so this first placeholder is really the question of, do we have a role here, right? It's just asking that that they get the EPA permits, which is already required by law, but also that they get the special use permit, which would allow for a public hearing in the county, right? Led by us through our traditional means. So that's it for right now, is just putting that into the code. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any, but this is a result of the work of that work group. And if everyone's in favor, then we can go forward and drill down deeper, pardon the pun, to sort of talk about what's next, right? What next might we consider important? Questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Go ahead.
For your information, this then would go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a public hearing in May. So it'd be a text amendment that this committee is applying for then as a county board committee. You might want to mention too that House bill on pipelines that is in effect, House Bill 3119 details on sequestration and pipelines. So the rules may be changing on how counties or what authority counties have to regulate pipelines for sequestration and sequestration wells. So if you want to look that up, that would be helpful. And fortunately, Chairman Klein forwarded that to me, and I've done a little research on it, and I've copied some of the highlights of it. If you'd like to see that, I could email them to you, and I emailed that to you earlier.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. So I think the clearest thing about CO2 is that it's all very complicated and that it's dynamic and changing. And so this just gets us started and will give us a chance to hone it down and do more work later once some of these things become more clear. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Items for information, our next committee meeting. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Forgive me, Member Bell.
Hi. Also, this is in reference to that. I always like to commend the Panagraph for breaking it down in layman's terms so people could understand. And it was very interesting how they did that. So if other people want to interject anything, I would say read that article before you come to a meeting and try to give us a hard time. Thank you.
Okay, so items for information. Item A is the next committee meeting date is 9 a.m. on Tuesday, May the 2nd. Does anybody have anything else they want to add or? Okay, with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Go vote.